shop to buy food, you can guess what the prices are like. Absolutely inflated. If you go to the pub, the landlord is instructed to do everything he can to get you just to drink and drink and drink. But on the off chance you want food or feed the family or something like that, how do you get money? You've got to go round. You've got to go round selling your tokens to the customers. Are they going to give you full price? No. If you complain, what happens? You're out your house, you're out your forge, and you're in the workhouse. And you don't want to be in the workhouse. And then there's 50,000 people in the local area who'll happily take your work. This gets even worse in the 1840s. In the 1840s, it was known as the Hungry 40s. There was a massive economic depression. Biggest one the country had ever seen. The local magistrates realised the nailers were struggling and struggling desperately. So they asked all the foggers and the nail masters to raise their prices to help the nailers. Nail masters all got together, and what do you think they did? They lowered the prices. So these people just cannot cope now. Loads of them met up Dudley to protest. They call it a protest today, we call it a riot. At this time, all the authorities are really worried about revolution and things going really badly in the country. So they're not going to stand for this. So what do? Hang on, that bit there's a bit wonky. What do? They send the cavalry in. So, you got the nail makers and the cavalry. You got the nail makers and the cavalry. But the nail makers are ready for them. They've made what we know as T-swazzies. You get 3 nails, I've got 4. You get 3 nails and you forge them together, so whichever way, when you throw it, whichever way it goes, it lands with a nail pointing up. The cavalry charge. And the horses get nailed. You can imagine your average horse don't like a nail in the foot. So it's absolute chaos. But the blokes can't win because they're starving and they're all forced back. Loads are arrested and charged down in Worcester. Now these people have rioted. In those days you could easily count that as treason. They could have started hanging them, they could have started transporting them. But the magistrates were actually very lenient to them because they knew just how bad things were. And they were worried that if they started treating them too bad, they'd all kick off again. Later on though, it all starts to go in decline. Because, and this is the bit I don't understand, in Belgium they can make nails cheaper. So how were they treating people in Belgium? And then machinery come in. You'd start in here at the age of 5. How old are you two? How old are you? 5. So you can start in here. What do you think? What do you think your job would be? You wouldn't be making nails. I need you to do something for me. So that was fitting a minute ago. You'd work the bellows, right? Right, you'd work the bellows. 2 years later, then you can start. 2 years later, then you can start making nails. Right? You can start making nails. Now, because bar is so important, if you mess up, as my apprentice, you keep messing up, you're losing money. So I got a punishment. and this is, I mean, yeah, there are plenty of records of this. You'd get a nail, and you'd get the kid, and you'd nail their ear to a bench. Right, so, kids, if tomorrow, when you go to school, if your teacher starts nailing people's ears to the benches, are you going to start behaving? Hey? Would you mess about? No, you wouldn't mess about, would you? Right? Let's hope your teacher never comes here and gets ideas. Now the story is that even babies could work in here. Can anybody think, how can I use a baby? What can I use a baby for to help me work in here? Because women would work in here, so you'd have to bring the baby. Where would you put the baby? On the bellows. So as it goes up and down, it rocks the baby to sleep. I'll be honest, I'm not entirely convinced. There would be in here 2 blokes working this forge, 2 working that forge. Nothing to do with each other. They would often fall out. Again, from the assizes, loads of records. You're falling out with someone, what do? Hot metal straight in. I'll tell you now, that shuts them up. It shuts them up something terrible. So this life is as hard as it gets in the back country. And there ain't nought you can do about it. So, anybody fancy being a nail maker? No? No. Luckily it went into decline. This one, by the 1880s, this is set in the 1880s, this gone into decline, which is why I'm using a handle, not a Tommy hammer. So they could do other things as well to make the money. Look. Put that in there. Right, and then. Come on, yes. Go on, boss. I knew it was close. Just about close. Right, so there's my nail. Stick that in there. You idiot. Stick that in there. Put that in there. And then you give it a bit of a bash. Hopefully stick a bit of a head on it. And then this is the bit you have to remember, otherwise it goes horribly wrong. You cool it down. The secret is leave it in here a little bit longer than needed, rather than a little bit shorter time, because you don't want to burn yourself. So there, these people would have been knocking out nails 20-30 seconds. But they would have, when mine got cold, I put it back in, they would have had lines, it would have been a lot bigger fire, and they'd have had lines of bars in and they'd been taking them out. And they'd have had somebody working them for them.